Hey, John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I've gotten different forms of this question. I got this question from Philip about listening to music while working. So he says, "Hi John, I'm following you for almost 9 months now." This is kind of an older email actually. I'll kind of skip to the part where he asked the question here. So he says, "What do you think about listening to music while working? Do you listen to music when coding? Joel Spolsky asserts that programmers are limited mentally when they listen to music. It blocks deep thought. How would you comment on it?" Here's a video with Joel Spolsky's statement. He's got a link to Quora on there. And then thank you again and can't wait for new content. Philip. So I don't listen to music in general, really, not anymore. It's kind of funny. I listen to audiobooks all the time or podcasts, so I never really am listening to music. But occasionally when I'm coding or working, I will listen to classical music. I mostly agree with Joel Spolsky on this, and I'll tell you why. So, well, first of all, if you try to listen, there's different levels of things that require different levels of concentration and cognitive ability. So if you're listening to a audiobook, that's probably the highest one, right? Because it's like direct content, that's condensed content, and there's not a lot of other brain tasks you could do while listening to an audiobook. You'll just zone out on the audiobook, right? It's even hard sometimes to lift weights while listening to an audiobook, especially when you got on 3 times speed like I do, but I can zone out. So that's kind of like the highest level of cognition, right? And then there comes podcasts, right? It's just a conversation. So you don't have to be quite as tuned in. There's a lot of, it's not condensed content. So you can probably do more stuff. I still wouldn't recommend trying to answer emails or work or code. You're going to zone out. You're going to follow the conversation. Then there comes music that has lyrics, especially complicated lyrics. That still requires you're humming along or you're singing along with it. You might be able to do some work while doing that, but I would say that you could play a video game, or you could do sort things, or do some kind of mindless type of work that requires a little bit of brain power while doing that and still do a decent job. Then comes music that's instrumental or classical music. And with that, there's a small amount of cognitive load there, right, to listen to, but I find that it could actually enhance your ability because it might calm you. There's an equal amount of calming, and it can help you build focus. You can you can let that relegate to the background, and you're not missing anything, right? So you don't have to worry about it. It's less likely to interrupt you. So I think what you have to do is kind of match up the music, if you will, or what you're listening to, the auditory stimuli, to the type of work that you're doing. In fact, there's, I've talked about this a little bit even with walking on a treadmill while working. You can find some of my blog posts on walking on a treadmill while working. I think I've got a guide to that. Anyway, there are certain activities that you can do, right? Some of them, you can listen to an audiobook and walk on a treadmill. That's not a problem. You can probably read a Kindle, but you'll find if you read more complicated text that it's actually harder to walk. You might start tripping, right? And you might be able to answer email if it's kind of brainless stuff, but trying to code while walking on a treadmill becomes more difficult, especially if you're trying to solve a difficult problem. So, long story short, it basically comes down to this. You don't want to do things that draw on your cognitive ability at the same time, because you will only be able to focus on one thing. For example, a lot of people I know will watch TV, and they'll be coding at the same time, and what they're actually doing is they're just switching back and forth. Something that would take them 1 hour ends up taking them 4 hours, and maybe they have a better time doing it. And same thing might go if you're listening to music, but you have to realize that it's going to hurt your productivity unless it's probably classical music. And even then, I'm not quite sure. I'm not totally sold on the classical music. I've tried it. I find that when I'm writing, when I'm actually writing, when I was writing my soft skills book, listening to classical music helped. But while I'm coding, I think it probably would hurt me. It might be different for someone else, But anyway, I can't really. I'm sure there's some people that think they perform well listening to death metal. Well, but maybe they totally tune it out. Maybe that's what happens, and they're just just listening to the rhythm. But for me, I know, and for other people that I've talked to, it actually hurts productivity. And you could test it out. I mean, if you don't believe me, try it. Listen to some music while you're coding and do without it, or try classical. Try different experiments. You should always be experimenting on yourself to see what works for you, because it might be different for you than for me. But anyway, good question. I think a lot of people wonder about this, and yeah, so that's my opinion on it. If you've got a question for me, email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Take care.